Cowboys.
Got open man. DJ Moore. End zone. Touchdown. Touchdown Bears.
I am Jeff Joniak.
Blitz is on. Down he goes. Oscar.
What was it like playing for Coach Ditka?
I don't want to answer any questions like that.
Pressure coming. He's in big trouble. Down he goes. Montez Sweat.
And etc.
Now, Bears Etc. brought to you by Chevy Drives Chicago, the official truck partner of your Chicago Bears.
Well, Mama said there are going to be days like these. We discussed today on episode 169 of the Bears Etc. podcast, and this episode of Bears Etc. brought to you by ChevyDriveChicago.com, the official truck of your Chicago Bears. With Super Bowl winning Bears guard Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Throughout the 25 season, on the day after the game, we'll visit with Bears head coach Ben Johnson. Now, that's coming up in just a moment. Tom, how you feeling?
In what way?
Mentally. Mentally.
There's the Bears fan in me, there's the broadcaster in me, and there's the ex-player in me. What guy are you interviewing today?
I want a little of each. So
As
let's
a
take
Bears
it.
fan in me,
Yeah, let's take it one at a time. Bears fan.
As a Bears fan in me, I'm frustrated because I think the Bears are going to go 17-0 every year. And that's the way I live my life, and that's the way I've been living my life since I've been a Bears fan my whole life.
Ex-player.
I want to see better out of these players. I have higher expectations of performance. I think there's guys on this team that are yet untapped potential, but they need to start forming a union inside that locker room that it's an all for one and one for all attitude. And I do think that there are some guys in there that are developing that status in the locker room, that they can be outspoken even though they've been here for a short period of time. And I want to see the cream rise to the top, and I would like to see it this upcoming Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys.
All right, broadcaster.
I selfishly want to see Bears wins for my enjoyment, for the fun of driving home, for the fun of going to the grocery store and talking to every one of the people in there that want to talk to me about the Bears game. The people that diligently listen to our game and they have exact memory recall and they want to know about the certain facts of the game. To the people that text message me by the time I get in the bus and they want answers.
Yeah.
I want to be able to talk about just victory after victory. And the broadcaster and me, I still have tremendous amount of faith in Ben Johnson because I think he's the guy to get this right. And it may take some trial and error, but all right, I'm on to Dallas. Let's rock and roll.
Yeah. Starbucks this morning, I'm behind two football coaches. First thing, I go, man, I just had to run into you guys, right? But no, yeah, faith is a great word to use, and you'll hear it in the interview with Ben because, first of all, believe has been the big theme ever since he got here. That's all over the building. Believe, believe, believe. But faith in each other, you got to, and that trust is a part of the faith. And he mentioned it. It takes time to develop trust between player and head coach, position coach and player and position coach, and player and player. And I always felt that was something automatic, but I'm certain now, just listening to you over the years and Ben emphasizing it back to the beginning of training camp, that's not the case. You do have to earn the trust.
Yes. So the modern day world, and you and I were talking about it the other day, what's an influencer, right?
Yeah.
So for the Bears, and I was thinking over the history of time throughout the NFL, as far back as I can remember, influencers in the NFL, a Reggie White, a Walter Payton, Lawrence Taylor, that
Peyton Manning, who's still,
Peyton Manning, Dan Hampton, Steve McMichael combination. I'm trying to go back years leading up into the modern day guys,
Alan
like Peyton Manning's
Page,
and Tom Brady's. Yes, so that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of influencers throughout the history of the NFL. Who's going to become that influencer on this football team? And I think they're on the cusp of getting some of those guys into that position. And the longer they play, the longer they walk in the locker room, the more voice they have, and it needs to be heard. And so over the next few weeks, I want to kind of figure out who are the influencers of this football team and how do they factor in to the turnaround of this.
Score big at your local Chevy dealer. The Chevy Silverado will take you through this season in style. Chevy Drive Chicago, official truck partner of the Chicago Bears. All right, let's hit the injuries. Concern, obviously, with cornerback Jalen Johnson, as Ben, not in this interview, but in his news conference with the media on Zoom earlier on Monday, is that it's a different injury than the one he recovered from, and that was that groin injury. He also had a calf as well before training camp in July. And then later I read he told the Pivot podcast, this national podcast, he tore his adductor off his pelvic bone.
I saw that.
I don't know what the adductor is. I know there's a apparatus in the gym you work at. It is involving the hips. Is that correct? Hips and groin?
Yeah, it's the movement of Suzanne Summers, the thigh master.
In,
right.
out.
So
Yeah.
when you contract your legs inward, that's the abductor muscle that's doing that motion. And so, unfortunately, it is a significant setback because of the athleticism that defensive backs put on display, and the way they swivel their hips, the way they run forward and have to immediately run backwards, how they run sideways in each direction. That's something that they have to have stability in to give them the confidence that they can play the position.
Yeah, so not sure what this one is, but it seems a bit more concerning. Linebacker T.J. Edwards re-aggravated his hamstring. Noah Sewell did a nice job stepping in and has growing confidence in that role. Kyler Gordon, it's a week-to-week situation with a hamstring. Nick McLeod filling in that role. Grady Jarrett fought through a sore knee, had 2 quarterback hits in the game. So that's the injury update as far as we know at this present time. As we look forward, though, just assume these guys, if they're ready or not, it doesn't matter. It's who's going to step in and who's going to be able to fill the void. So we're thinking about Nashawn Wright. We're thinking about McLeod. We're thinking about getting Shamar Turner active and ready to go and to contribute across the board here. So what are your thoughts? Because it is only week 2, and I know we overreact to this every year, but it seems like already there's a bushel full around the league. 4 quarterbacks and, 2 starting offensive linemen on the interior of the Carolina Panthers. I mean, it's all over the league.
The 2 left the game last night for the Minnesota Vikings. J.J. McCarthy's out 2 to 4 weeks with a high ankle sprain. Jaden Daniels is a day-to-day type of evaluation of his injuries. So, listen, it's not only about the Chicago Bears. There's injuries all around the league, but that's why you have a 53-man roster and you have a practice squad that you can pick from. You can even pick guys off of other practice squads if you feel that you've always had an evaluation of them and they can come in here and fit. Defensive players, a lot of times, especially on the defensive line, they can come and be in a plug-and-play guy. They can play immediately. Offensive line, quarterback, tight ends and stuff, they need a little bit more time inside the tablet before they can really get on the field and be organized with the rest of their teammates. And even in Ben's interview, it said you can have 10 guys doing the right thing. You have one guy not being in the right position, and it creates a big play. So all those types of things that, whether it's Dan Rochar on the offensive line, getting these guys waiting in the wings for their opportunity, or it's the defensive line, linebackers, defensive backs, every one of these guys that have been here since training camp, they've been out here every day practicing to be a starter. None of them said, I'm going to come out here and practice every day because I want to be a career backup. That's just not the tone in the NFL. So every guy that gets their opportunities, you got to have starter expectations on them.
Introducing Cruz Blanca, a line of Mexican-American premium cervezas, bold, vibrant, and brewed right here in the U.S. It's the perfect beer for tailgates, backyard grills, and post-touchdown celebrations. Celebrate responsibly, Chicago. Let's listen in to head coach Ben Johnson. All right, Ben, thanks very much for your time once again. Hey, I got an odd question possibly, but after an outcome like this one, what have you appreciated about coaches in your life, coaches you work for, played for, that handled it right after the game, the Monday after the game, and throughout the next week, getting ready for the next game in terms of talking to the players?
Yeah, I think what I've learned over the years is the consistency from a head coach along with the coordinators down to the assistants. That's the most important thing that the players appreciate, that we're not riding too high after we win and that we don't go too low after a loss. A game like that, everyone's really disappointed, and yet we're committed to our process, which is we're going to watch the tape, we're going to clean it up, we're going to be very honest and direct with each other, coaching staff and players included, and where we're falling short, we got to address that, we got to emphasize that, and then once we're done here with the day after the game, players will have a day off, and when they come in on Wednesday, we're going to bring energy and a new life because it's a new ball game, and everything that we're worried about is going to be committed on that next game. I think that's what the best coaches I've been around, that's how they approach it, and that's how we plan on attacking this one.
How do you describe your team meetings? And I don't know if you do it the same way as are you standing in front of the whole team? Is it a long meeting? Is it a quick boom boom and get to your position? I mean, what is it like, full squad?
I think each week's different. I think each meeting's different. It's really a little bit of I never want them to grow stale in terms of what they're anticipating, and so some weeks it'll be really short and sweet and to the point. Other weeks we might go a little bit longer. Times we'll show film from the game. Other times we might just show a video clip from somewhere else, and we bounce around quite a bit, and I think that's by design. We ebb and we flow based on what these guys need to hear and what we need to get the best out of them. And so, this week was just a straight shot of what this game looked like, why it went the way it went, and what we need to do going forward.
Are you a yeller in the meeting room?
I can get intense at times, and at other times I can be really, really stoic.
I knew the answer to that one before. Is sometimes you just know, right? Road games provide immediate review for you, I'm sure, because for those who don't know, Ford Field to the airport in Detroit is a long ride, and plus there's traffic. So maybe you can pop the iPad on the tablet right away. Then you got the plane ride. Then you got another bus ride to Hallis Hall. Do you cover all that, or are you doing other things?
Yeah. I end up making it through pretty much the entire game over that process, and so I have a good feel when we get off the plane of who played well, who didn't play well, and just a general vibe of what the units did, and then I try to get some sleep. That's hit or miss these days, but come in early the next day, meet with the staff, and see the game one more time through maybe a little bit cleaner lens. But I think we got a good process in terms of making sure that we know where we need to improve and where our shortcomings are and who needs to play a little bit better.
Can you get a grip on that for us? Like, where are you talking?
Yeah, this particular one, I mean, when you get beat by 31 points, it's there's a laundry list of where we got to improve in a hurry. But I think what comes to mind for me is, as a team, we got outgained significantly in the yardage category. We gave up way too many explosives in the passing game to that team. Something that we kind of talked about going into the game was making sure that number one didn't get over the top of us. He had 2 catches for 100 yards. We want to make sure we contained their running game and didn't give them the edges, and we allowed them to bounce a few runs. And we needed to affect the quarterback. So we didn't hit our keys nearly enough on that side of the ball. And on offense, when we did it right, it looked good. And when we had penalties or when we had turnovers or when we had failed 4th down conversions, that's really where we got kicked in the rear end a little bit. So there's a lot to clean up, and I don't think it was any one position. It wasn't any one player or any one staff member. So we got a lot of areas we can improve. Despite
this kind of loss, you never know how a player is going to react, but certainly your leaders, and Caleb is one of them. I thought he did a very good job, in my opinion, at the podium after the game. He explained the mindset at 0-2 and the long, everything you can think of that you just exampled with, one game is one game, and you got to look at the big picture. But it presented a strong message on behalf of the team, and he complimented you about making him think that way, making the team think that way in the locker room. That's important, isn't it? Despite him being just a second-year player. Yeah, there's no question about it. I'm glad that he took it that way, and hopefully the rest of the guys did as well. The worst thing that can happen is we take a loss like this where it wasn't proportional by any stretch of the imagination, but we allow this to trickle on more than what it is. It's a one loss, and it's one that stings quite a bit, but we got to put this one behind us, and there's no reason why we can't come out next week a hungry group and find a victory. We need a great week of preparation here, and I can't wait to see these guys back in the building on Wednesday
so that we can get after it.
Something growing here between him and Adunze, would you say is fair? I complimented the play design last week on that throw in the fourth quarter, and then this week I loved the motion by Adunze to the right, pivots quickly to the left, Caleb, easy pitch and catch. Play design in the red zone, when you get there a lot, I think it's going to mean a lot of green for the Bears.
Yeah, shoot, we've only scratched the surface there in terms of some of the plays we have in the red zone. It's a shame we haven't gotten down there a little bit more in these first two games to showcase those. But as always, it comes down to the players executing. I thought Rome did a great job, and then Caleb delivered a good ball as well. And I'm excited to see where that connection continues to go.
Talk about the quarterback sneak real quick. I don't know how many times he's actually done them in his life when you think about it, right? Being in a spread and not being under center much. Is that a fair question to ask about Caleb getting, more used to doing that in necessary situations?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's he is a, as he said last week, a largely condensed individual or something.
At 230.
So I know he's got power. I know he can plow ahead, and I know that's there within him. I think there's more meat on that bone than what we got yesterday. And, each week our plan will be different there for short yardage plays. That was what it was here this week for that situation. I told the guys after the game, I got a lot of confidence that if we get 2 plays to get 1 yard, I think that we can get it. I feel too strongly about this group up front, too strongly about this quarterback, our runners. I feel too good about that not to be able to convert that situation.
Plus, it's important that they know that.
Oh, yeah.
If not, there's got to be a trust in that, and they have to feel that you believe in them.
Oh,
correct?
yeah. I think, and that's been a big part of the message right now is I do believe in them. The staff believes in them, and it's hard to sometimes rationalize that when the game goes the way it does, but that's the truth. I've seen too much from this group in the springtime and in training camp so far. I refuse to believe that was really reflective, that performance yesterday of who we are and what we're going to be about for the rest of the year.
What have your conversations with Dennis Allen been here?
Really positive. He's as disappointed as anybody else in terms of how that game went. He's committed to getting this thing squared back away and playing the style of football that Chicago Bears is known for. He said it from the moment he came into this building that the best Bears teams have been driven by staunchy defenses. And, it's for the last, call it 4 or 5 quarters, it hasn't been the way we wanted it to go. But we've got a talented group on that side of the ball. And when you have 10 guys doing the right thing, all it takes is one guy to be a little bit off, and it looks bad. So we'll make sure we have a tight plan here going forward, and we'll do what we need to do to put our guys in a good position.
America's team, they say. The Dallas Cowboys coming in. Sneak peek real quick. I know you haven't had a lot of time to look at them just yet.
I haven't seen a whole lot yet, but, from afar, it does appear that they have a darn good offense. They've got, 3 first-rounders on the offensive line. The quarterback's playing at a really high level. 2 receivers that are dangerous when the ball comes their way. Looks like their running game is much improved from last year. Defensively, I know they have a new scheme going in, but they play hard. They are fundamentally sound, and we'll have our work cut out for us. We got to be on our P's and Q's, and we got to play just a cleaner brand of football going forward, and we'll be just fine.
Appreciate it very much.
Yep. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. I know you analyze these things. Anything stick out?
I just like his attitude. I like that the approach that he's going to go in, and as he stands in front of the team, that he lets them know that this is one game. And after we address the game today, then we're going to be on to Dallas. But it's not like he lessens his expectations of how these guys should perform. They need to perform. And, Ben talked about his disappointment is equal to the disappointment of Dennis Allen. Everything that you want to hear out of a head coach. And I do still think that Ben Johnson is a problem solver. And when he watches that tape, as you said, from the bus to the airport, on the airplane, and from the bus to Hallis Hall, you can learn a lot of information on watching that tape. And that's why I always say, when we get a chance to interview him immediately following the game, as an ex-player, there's sometimes I couldn't give you the right answer, but 24 hours later, I darn well know that I could give you the right answer.
Let's talk Caleb Williams. I think there's definite improvement there.
The way they started that game, whether it be the direct snap, the DeAndre Swift, or it's the high-octane offense of Caleb, super impressed because when he had life inside the pocket, he was able to patiently wait and accurately deliver. When he had to speed up the process and kind of look for an outlet, he was still keeping his eyes downfield and willing to throw the football. I was encouraged by his performance after the game, as lopsided as it was, because I think when you get ready now, let's take the show at home, then let's see the things that we did well. Let's improve upon them and then add a couple elements that we can do equally as well.
I didn't get around to ask him this question. I don't remember if I asked him on our ESPN interview this morning too, because it's 2 interviews in one day. We try to tackle different topics, but you raised the question about the up-tempo, no huddle on the road helps take the starch out of the crowd if you're moving the football and it quiets the crowd. That was very effective. Can you do that at home? Would you be willing to do that at home? I'm going to assume the answer is yes. There's a benefit to doing it. If Caleb, it strikes me as a guy that likes tempo. He enjoys tempo.
I do too. You know what? I like tempo. Say the Bears offense goes out there and they have a double-digit scoring drive. Then the defense takes the field and they get you 3 and out. Defense, whether you think or not, they're built for 3 and outs. If you get a defense that just came off the field after a 10-play drive and you go that up-tempo offense, you're talking about guys, if they don't have strength in numbers, that they're already tired. And then you're going to fatigue them even more, whether it's in the first quarter or the fourth quarter. It can be super effective. And, you go back to my days when Buffalo ran the K-gun offense, or Boomer Esiason in Cincinnati would do a no-huddle offense, and other guys throughout the course of their career. It's super effective, and when you have the number of weapons the Bears have, you can really win some matchup battles.
I have a silly question, having never played the game, certainly not at the line of scrimmage, Tom. When you guys would run the ball and you're constantly firing off the ball and clearing out space, people moving, as I like to say, you say it wears down a defense. Why doesn't the constant contact wear down an offensive line? I know you're delivering, but it's also, you're using a lot of energy to do that.
That's what you're built for. That's the way you go through practice. That's why when you watch a teamwork, you watch 9-on-7. The offensive line's in there for 8 to 10 plays at a time, and then they'll bring in the second group of guys and let them have an extended version of their practice time. So mentally, that's what you're built for, and you kind of have the conditioning. And run blocking is not as fatiguing as pass blocking. Run blocking is a series of organized patterns of block attack angles, get the guy out of the way, let the running back get up to that second level, and then you're done with your block. When you go to consistently pass blocking, you're talking about being on your feet, attacking, giving ground grudgingly for hopefully 4 seconds at a time. And then you have a guy that's fighting against you that is you're giving effort the whole time. So if you're a good run blocking team, you can really extend the amount of plays you can run effectively.
Tom, did you look for work?
It was a different time in day. What I like about the Bears, tight ends, whether it's Colston or Cole, those guys are blocking the edge effectively, and they're cut blocking those defensive ends. Colston Loveland had a block on Aiden Hutchinson yesterday that he went to cut him, and Aiden Hutchinson had to basically hurdle over the top of him to keep from getting his legs cut out from underneath him. That's a win. Hayden is not moving anywhere. He's not on his feet fighting against the ball carrier. He's looking and trying to avoid these tight ends. Now, every time a tight end goes in motion, what's the first thing he's looking at out of his stance? Oh, my God, is he coming for my lower legs?
It happened last week. It happened last week by the Packers, Tucker Kraft.
Yeah.
Same thing. I think it shocked him, too, when I watched it back and forth several times, because it definitely was I hate to say this. I'm not, the whole sweep the leg, I mean, he was going for that thigh high cut block.
It's a great block because if you get it once and it works, then that player is conscious of that the rest of the game, and now he's looking to protect himself rather than go and make a play.
Hey, Bears fan, Steinhoffels is a proud partner of the Chicago Bears, now open in Orland Park. Steinhoffels is Chicagoland's furniture and mattress leader with the largest selection to fit every style and budget, and is 100% employee-owned. Shop in store and online at steinhoffels.com. Okay, snap percentage for the offensive weapons in a game plan is a topic out there right now, and it's a coach's decision in terms of the game plan, but targets based on the progressions of the quarterback, obviously, per play, and the quarterback finding the right guys throughout that progression. Right now, it's been quiet for the tight ends. Ben talked about in the news conference that, yes, he needs to do more of that. Didn't anticipate having the tight ends heavily involved in week 1. Overall, just 9 targets in 2 games. It's still a vast area of exploration. Listen, I'm listening to what's going on out there, and everybody wants the ball now in Luther Burden's hands. They want to make sure DJ Moore is still set, and then now Roma Dunze is looking like a primary target. And oh, by the way, you got Olamide Zaccheaus. It is hard to make all people happy about who's getting the football because they all can't get it. I mean, you can spread it around, but the volume is going to be different. I mean, yesterday, 23 completions went to 8 different players from Jared Goff. That was a good spread and some big plays, obviously, along the way. But how do you look at this right now?
Well, first of all, with offensive tackle uncertainty, especially on the left-hand side, week 1 against dominating pass rushers and a good defense that has a lot of blitzes attached. Sometimes you have to keep tight ends early in the season as security blankets and make sure rather than being the primary receiver, especially a guy like Colston in the slot or out a little bit, now he's in a 3-point stance or he's in motion taking the defensive end. So sometimes it's about what you have and what you're trying to develop in the evaluation process that you're going to go through in the first couple of weeks. However, I would rather be sitting there with 2 tight ends that I haven't used yet, knowing that when I do turn them on, it's going to be a high octane offensive performance. And, some teams, Dallas Cowboys last week, 12 targets to their tight end with 9 catches. So the capabilities are there. But you also are developing a young quarterback in a system. You want to give him maximum amount of protected time to find the other receivers downfield. Listen, man, 14 Zaccheaus, that dude's legit.
Yep.
He has a chance to be just a real star in this offense. And you see the developing relationship between Rome, and we all know DJ's a stud. So, unfortunately, the tight ends haven't got involved in the passing game. Fortunately, they've been able to stay in and help on the edges.
Good news, Chicago. United Airlines is getting brand new planes with all the bells and whistles like Bluetooth connectivity, screens at every seat, and room for everyone's roller bag. United, proud to fly the Chicago Bears, and you too. Not playing a clean game or close to one against an experienced outfit like the Lions, Tommy, is going to get a team in trouble. And it did. It did, no question. What aspect of the game would you say you are most concerned with?
Immediate pressure by the defensive line. And so I want to see, when I talk about who's going to be the influencers, I really think a guy like Grady Jarrett has an opportunity to be an influencer to the career of Gervon Dexter, because there's one play specifically. Grady Jarrett's lined up in the outside shoulder of the left guard. And with the snap of the ball, because they can start hearing the count since Detroit's at home, you can hear Goff deliver his cadence. So he falls into a rhythm. Grady's been around. He's a smart guy. He explodes, Jeff, across the face of the left guard into the shoulder of the center. Now he's occupying 2 guys because of his explosiveness. Now Gervon Dexter has an opportunity to tightly loop around Grady Jarrett and get into the face of the quarterback. So more designed efforts like that to take advantage of maybe Grady's not, a pass rusher that's going to get you 15 sacks a year, but damn, he's got the explosiveness and the power to take out 2 blockers to set a lineman free. And then when you see what I know Montez Sweat is capable of. They tried to put an extra lineman over to him. He beats that lineman immediately. The tight end has no chance to touch him, and it results in a sack. Unfortunately, they had a penalty. So the guys that I talk about that can be influencers, they got to be influencers. And however many snaps a game they're playing, you got to put them in the best position to either help out another defensive lineman or win one-on-one battles themselves.
How quickly can they clean up the penalties on the offensive line?
I think that's going to be done, especially at home. It's going to be done immediately. I think that if you just clean up the cadence and you start getting those reps under center with Caleb, you start understanding his rhythm, those aren't going to affect the offensive line. Listen, everybody's capable of getting a holding call depending upon with the type of blocking you have, and you're giving running backs the freedom. Sometimes they show up in a spot you don't expect them. That's going to happen in the modern day NFL, but just the whole cadence and control at the line of scrimmage, I expect those types of penalties to be cleaned up immediately.
When Mexican heritage meets American brewing, game day gets an upgrade. Cruz Blanca, Cerveza refreshed. Proud partner of the Chicago Bears. All right, let's look at the Dallas Cowboys, who lost their starting center, Cooper Beebe Tom, for 6 to 8 weeks with an ankle. So that will be an impactful thing for a quarterback that is hot right now in Dak Prescott. Always have been impressed with Dak Prescott. I think he's been through a lot already. Looks like he's coming out the other side as long as he stays healthy. And so this will be a top concern of the Bears, is what Dak Prescott does in the passing game and how it sets up the running game, which is pretty strong as well with Javonte Williams.
Yeah, they got some young draft choices on the offensive line. They're going to bring, have a new center that I'm sure doesn't have 100 snaps yet with Dak Prescott. And then they're going to have to challenge him. I think this is the perfect opportunity for Andrew Billings. The way he plays, the strength he plays, he's an immovable object, and use him effectively in the run game. And then when you need that speed element that owns leverage, that's where Grady Jarrett comes into play. And if you can start developing these two-man games on the line of scrimmage, maybe you can get Dak on the run, but he's a good athlete. It's going to about speeding up his throwing process rather than letting him run upfield if you're in a coverage that he takes advantage of.
And I'm wondering defensively what that loss of Micah Parsons has done just in terms of the mental aspect of that defense, losing a player of his ilk and his dominance. So I know they're bringing in Jadeveon Clowney to help a little bit as well as the edge rusher, but and they have some other injuries, too, that is affecting their secondary. I'm wondering, though, when you lose a player like that, even though you didn't really have him because he wasn't practicing, does that linger a bit until somebody else steps up and becomes that dominant player?
No one's going to come up to be Micah Parsons. The thing that's most disturbing about it is that defensive coach sat in a room with a blackboard and a pencil, drawing up all these defensive schemes with Micah Parsons involved. It's like a scientist with a chalkboard writing down a theory for 3 months, and then all of a sudden they get to the end and oh my God, we're off by one. They're off by one, but that one's Micah Parsons. So you're not going to be able to plug and play. You may be able to use the same philosophical thinking, but when you try to isolate him on a rusher, you're not going to get the same results.
Kenny Clark's there now. Your old buddy.
Good player.
Yes,
good
he
player,
is.
Getting up there in age. He is a good football player. But he's one defensive tackle, and he's probably 30 rep a game a week type of guy. So you got to match up against him.
How do you tell a cashier you're a Bears fan without telling them you're a Bears fan? With the Chicago Bears PNC Bank Visa debit card, which gets you exclusive discounts on Bears merchandise. Find out more at pnc.com/BearsCard. Tom will gather again on Thursday of this week to see if we can hammer out a way to victory for the Bears over the Dallas Cowboys. We'll see you then.
I think the official short-sighted the Bears on the third down quarterback sneak, by the way. You go back and you look at it, look at the impact, look at it from sideline and end zone. I think Caleb got it, and I think they shorted him. I would have thrown the flag and challenged the spot.
That crew was a challenge. I'll just leave it at that.
Yep.
Thank you to Bears head coach Ben Johnson. For Tom Thayer, I'm Jeff Joniak. Thanks for listening, everybody. Please subscribe now on the Chicago Bears official app, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Bear down, everybody.